This time on Shift Points, Jackson comes over and gets the interior on this 1964 Galaxie polished and shining. Thanks for joining. Well, the new starter got delivered today, so just for reference again, this is the old starter, and this thing weighs an absolute ton. It's huge. This one, to be honest, is actually bigger than I thought it would be. It's substantially lighter, that's for sure. Substantially lighter, and the cool thing about it is it has this info clock. So these two, if you loosen these two bolts, you can rotate this mounting surface any 100 or 360 degrees all the way around this, so you have pretty much whatever option you want whenever you put this in, depending on what you have available down here where the starter bolts up, which is kind of what we're having question right now. We're trying to kind of figure that out. I'm gonna get in here and clean that out real good. They say that all the surfaces have to be completely bare metal. Make sure it's really clean in there, and you can see there's a lot of junk. So before I stick that up in there and kind of figure out what's gonna happen, what we need, get that cleaned out real good, and then we'll start kind of deciding what needs to happen as far as how it needs to be located, and or what's going to give us the most room as much as possible with these new headers that are not here yet, but whenever they come, and so that the exhaust can run out. So now we've got this thing under here. What I did was I took the bolts out of the front of the starter, and I bolted the plate up to the block, or to the bell housing, and then just took this and put it in all these different ways. And really, there's really only one option, and it's this one right here. That gives you enough clearance right here on this boss on the block and the starter. Right there, it gives you can kind of see it a little bit, maybe. There we go. You can kind of see that clearance that's right there. And it gives a little more clearance. We're not going to lock anything down until we get the headers and we kind of figure out exactly where this collector is going to come out, but we're guessing the collector is going to come out somewhere about like right here, and that should hopefully give enough room to run a 2.5 inch pipe out of from basically from up here, and then run it down here between all of this right here where the steering arm is and all that stuff. So, and then it can go back that direction. Hopefully. So anyway, like I said, I was hoping to get more clearance out of this. I thought maybe that this would be able to lay back closer to the block and give us a lot more, but it really doesn't. So hopefully this is going to be good enough for us to be able to do what we need to do. Like I said, it was the one that Sanderson called out, so hopefully this is, you know, it's kind of what they had designed around, so hopefully it'll be good enough for what we're going to do. But like I said, we're not going to lock anything down until we get the headers and get them bolted up in place and make sure that we're going to have enough clearance on everything. Alright, so Jackson had a little time to come over today. We're going to kind of do just a little bit of a test run on these seats. He's already been spraying some of this stuff on it. What's that stuff?
The bottle with no label.
Yeah, but what is it?
It is that. Grab that.
Gotcha. So it's Chemical Guys Invisible Super Cleaner. No nonsense.
Yeah,
Invisible Super Cleaner. Colorless, odorless.
It's pH neutral is the big thing, because I didn't want to use anything acidic, especially on these seats as old as they are.
Right.
And something go wrong with each color and mess anything up.
Right.
This stuff's safe on everything.
Okay. So that's cool. So he's going to spray that on there, and then you're going to he has this steamer that he brought with us, which is super fancy. He has got a little brush and stuff on it. So I guess that you'll take this and it'll steam, and you can scrub with that cleaner.
Yeah,
and theoretically, it's going to take all of that
off of it.
gunk off the top of the seat. Well, everywhere. Like I told you guys last time.
Be fine and safe, and then we'll put something on the leather after to.
Don't forget that you have all of these panels to do also. All of these panels. I'd say there's roughly about 9,000 square inches of surface that you have to clean in this car.
We should only have 2 hours on this back seat.
Yeah. So at least it's out of the car though. We could have had to do it in the car.
Oh, yeah.
So I got that out for you.
I mean, you can stand up in that car. So
yeah.
It's not like it's
I literally did. Yeah. So anyway, all right. So he's gonna get on that. I'm gonna show you guys what I'm doing, or well, what me and Dad are doing up here, because I made a little bit of a whoops, and let me show you what I did. So my plan was to, I showed you guys pulling off the old plug wires and all that stuff, and I was gonna start taking out this old distributor to get an idea on, make sure we were gonna get plenty of clearance on the new distributor, which I think I've showed you guys, but I don't know if I have. Here it is. This is the new one. So we're gonna put this in. It's an HEI style, which means it has the male plugs up here, where the old ones have the female plugs. You can see that. What I did, or what I didn't do, I should say, what I didn't do when I took the plug wires off, I didn't mark anything. I didn't mark where number 1 was. I didn't mark where it was in the firing order whenever we pulled it off. So now Dad's having to play detective, and we're kind of figuring out where everything is. We rotated the motor around. We got it to where it is pointed to where number 1 should be. So we took the cap off, but I marked it before we took it off this time. If you put that in place there, right there is the number 1 on this. Of course, the firing order on this thing is different than a small block Chevy. And this turns in the opposite direction also. So we've got this. It's a different firing order. Dad pulled out his book here. It is firing order 15426378, rotating counterclockwise. So anyway, that's the firing order for this thing. We're kind of getting an idea of what that's going to be, get an idea of where it's at, so that we can then go ahead and start putting this distributor in, theoretically and hopefully. Okay, we hear about this all the time, and you hear about it pretty often, talking about being 180 degrees out. And Dad wanted me to see this because this is where we are right now. So go ahead, Dad.
Well, that white mark, if you can see it on the camera, that white mark is where we want the ignition timing, where we want the rudder button lined up with the number 1 terminal on the distributor.
There we go. That white mark.
Okay, it is lined up with the timing mark. That's where we want the timing. But if you look at the distributor, the rudder button's turned 180 degrees from where it needs to be. This contact needs to be over here.
Because this was number 1 is over here, like I said, 180 degrees from where this is. So currently this is at 1, 5, 4, 2, 6. So this is at number 6 instead of being at number 1 where it's supposed to be. Okay. Yep. So, and because of that, the crankshaft turns twice for every one time the camshaft turns, right?
Yep.
So that's what's got us 180 degrees out. We need to go ahead and continue to rotate this to where it gets back to number 1. So we went ahead and turned the engine on over. You can see that this is now pointed at where number 1 needs to be. If we shine this light down in here, and you can see this line here is at, it's hard to see the ticks on it, but they're 2-degree ticks on the balancer, and we're setting it at about 12. Dad was saying that having this set at 12 is probably, by the time when we get the distributor put in place, it'll probably be sitting somewhere between 8, 9, 10 degrees, and we'll need to probably advance it a little bit more from there. But that's where we're going to go. So now that we know that this is at number 1, that's how it needs to be. This can come out. When we put the new distributor in, we'll do the same thing. Dad's already marked this for number 1 on the cap, and what we can do is we'll take that rotary button. When it goes back in here, it's going to be pointed directly at the number 1 on the distributor. That's where it needs to go, and that'll get us where we need to be to get this thing started again. So Dad was telling me this, I didn't realize it either, but in this distributor here, in this original distributor, if we get over here, you can see this little cap here. You can pull that down. That's actually a place to manually oil this distributor. How often were you supposed to? You don't know? I didn't know if you knew or not, but yeah, you're supposed to manually oil that distributor at certain intervals. He's probably got it in the manual here, but that's a pretty interesting little piece there. So that's going to come out now. We'll get rid of that, and this is what we're doing, is eliminating the points and condenser. We're swapping it over to this HEI, High Energy Ignition System, HEI, a Chevrolet design. Dad'll be happy we finally got at least some Chevrolet parts on this thing other than just the brake rotors. So we're going to pull this thing out and go ahead and get ready to put the new one in. something that Dad was telling me, and I didn't realize it, but down in here, and it's very hard to see on camera, but that's a hex-shaped piece down in there, and that is what drives the oil pump. Is just that hex. That's all. It's kind of crazy. Dad was saying that these pins here that hold that gear on are also, if you're turning it quite a bit, those are prone to shear. The other kind of interesting thing I have to say is that, much like everything else we've pulled off, this is an original Fumoco distributor. Still has the Fumoco logo on it there. Let's see if I can turn this light off. Maybe you can see it better. Strobe. Yeah, there you go. So you can see the Fumoco logo a little better now. So Jackson, you guys heard him over here in the background while we were working on that distributor. But you can see he's kind of done an initial go on this, and it's really, between the steam and that cleaner, it's really pulled, it's kind of made it this pinkish color like he said. And this is just the first thing that came off of it. This rag was clean when he started. That was putting the cleaner on it and then wiping it off with this after he steamed it. So you can kind of see all the, kind of how awful it is. Yeah, not surprising, because like I told you guys, this stuff had like a sticky awfulness to it. Just the whole seat was covered in it. So I'm not surprised he's getting this much junk off of this thing. He's gonna keep going on this thing though. You can see how red this is coming out. I don't know if the camera really does it justice, but man, yeah, it's coming out really red. It's gonna look great. Dad's already got the new distributor started down in here.
Is that going to it?
It's gonna be extremely close to it right there.
It needs to be though. This thing's in the way.
You want me to take that line off? Alright, so we got this put in place, so you can see that it looks pretty darn good. But exactly what I was honestly kind of expecting is that the air cleaner hits it. Like I said, I pretty much saw this coming. That's why I wanted to go ahead and get this thing put in place. So I thought that would probably be what happened. So we've talked about a couple different things, maybe find a different cap potentially. But I think what we've kind of settled on is maybe putting a spacer under the carburetor. If we could put a 1-inch spacer under the carburetor, because you can see,
Showing the hole.
yeah, you can see this back here, kind of how it sets. That if we had it spaced up just enough, this would probably rotate this up enough, space it up just enough to clear everything, even with putting the plug wires on. So we're going to investigate that a little more. And we did have a nice little finding. Richard must have decided that it needed some more air, because he's got someone to hack this air cleaner, a big giant hole in the bottom back of this air cleaner. Yeah, so that's not meant anymore. But luckily it's where you can't really see it, and once the air element, filter element is in here, you can't see it at all really, so that's good, I guess. But just kind of a not surprising surprise that we found whenever we took that filter element back out. And while we finished all that up, Jackson got this seat absolutely shining. Man, it looks good. Jackson, what all did you end up doing after you steamed it?
Just wiped it down, put some VRP on it, just to kind of soften it up a little bit.
You guys have seen us and well, Jackson, because Jackson, when he does all this stuff for us, he uses all this chemical gas stuff. This is their VRP stuff. So you steamed it good, used the brush, scrubbed it, got all the gunk out. He said it looked like the
rag's behind you.
Yeah. Oh, here you go. So yeah, there's the rags. They were clean when they started, and they're black and gray now. He said that what was coming off of it looked very much like what you would dump out of a carpet cleaner. So
Smelled like it too.
Smelled like it. Yeah, we need some smell-o-vision. But man, he's got this thing looking shining. If the whole interior gets to looking like this is the second coat of that VRP you put on it.
It's still coming off dry.
Yeah.
It's just sucking it right in.
So yeah, you can tell this stuff hadn't had anything in it for a really long time, and I haven't actually. Yeah, all that sticky residue is gone. Man, yeah, that makes me really happy, because if we can get the whole interior, that's the seat bottom, the front seat, and then all of this interior shining like that, this thing's going to look really good, Jackson.
Okay.
It will. Well, I was working on this thing again this morning and decided, hey, all these hoses are junk. We've looked at it before. I ordered a kit that converts this thing over from a bracket, basically, that'll convert this thing from the old big giant generator to the 3G style Ford alternator, regular old alternator that we should be able to buy anywhere. So I was like, well, I'm gonna pull these hoses off, because with that we have to swap this water pump from the 64 to a 65 Galaxie. So I was gonna pull all these old hoses off, and we talked about this thing probably not having any water in it when we fired it up. And that is not the case. There was quite a bit of water in it. It might not have been all the way up into that tank, but when I dumped that hose, because the drain for the radiator's over there in no man's land, so that was not gonna let us drain it into anything. So I decided to pull it straight off the water pump here and drop that hose as quick as I could. And thankfully we did, because if you look at here, this hose is terrible. It has really been on there for a long time. It looks really bad. It's got all gouged and cut and everything too. So that's a good thing that we pulled these anyway. But yeah, now I'm in the process of doing some cleaning to get all the dang antifreeze out of the floor. So me and Dad got talking about it. We put the distributor in yesterday and we didn't put any sort of lube or grease or anything on the gear itself here. So what we're planning to do is he's got some of this engine assembly lube from CRC he's had for a long time now. We're going to put some of that on it just to help give that gear some lubrication on initial startup, because it's a little, any way that you can do to help protect all that stuff will make this stuff a lot easier and less prone to cause any sort of incident. We're back working on the Galaxie this morning. The plan is to start digging into the interior. Jackson's already up here, over here. He started working on it. He's got this bottom of the back seat soaking with that nonsense invisible cleaner from Chemical Guys, and he's letting the steamer clean up. He's gonna dig into this seat real good, get that cleaned up. You guys know we're kind of working on a little bit of a limited space in here, so I'm trying to get the back part of this interior done today so that I can put the back seat back in place and it'll be out of our way. So with that, if we do the two sections of the seat, I'm gonna get in here and vacuum this real good, get all that stuff out of here, clean that up, and if we can clean the door panel in the back on each side, if we can get those two pieces and this bottom clean today and have this vacuumed out, I'll be very happy, because then, like I said, we'll get this stuff out of the way and it'll let us have a little bit more space to work on some other stuff that we need to work on, specifically the rear end, because we need to start going through it too, because we'll have to order some parts, seals and bearings and stuff like that for that. But I want to get these seats out of the way before we do that. The front seat we can start cleaning, but I'm going to leave it out until we get the brake pedal or the brake booster and everything hung, because I've got to get under there to get that attached to the brake pedal, and it'll give me a little extra space if I have that front seat out. So that's the plan for today. Dig into this, see what we get into. Alright, you guys have been watching us work on this stuff. I think the carpet is way better. There's definitely still some funk in it, but took that brush, that cleaner, and put in here and just absolutely scrubbed it, that drill brush, and it brought up so much fiber out of this carpet and all this stuff. Went in here and vacuumed it again and got that good. Come in here and vacuumed this real good, got most of the stuff out of here. Still some dust and stuff, but in general got that wiped down. We have went ahead and put a first coat of that VRP from Chemical Guys on both of the rear door panels. You can see how much they have shined up. And then Jackson's got that door and this door he hasn't sprayed yet. That door he's got soaking in that invisible cleaner. Then he's going to come in here, let this one soak. We'll steam and scrub these and then put the VRP on it. I'm honestly just super amazed at how well this stuff's coming out. I've been in here working on this thing. Jackson's got this side steamed up really good, cleaned up, man. I know I keep saying it, but I don't know if the camera's really doing it justice, but man, it's just putting together this red. It's gonna look so good, like so good. I've been in here working on the headliner, and you can definitely see there's definitely it's a little better. I've done these panels, these pillars back here, and the first two panels of the headliner. You can see it's done pretty good. I've been taking that invisible cleaner with like this foam dish brush, so I had a handle so I could do it and scrubbing it, and it seems to be doing pretty good. I think it'll be really hard to get this back to like a perfect white as long as it's set anyway, but in general it's done pretty good. So I'm going to keep working on this, start doing the rest of these panels. Jackson's going to come over here and start scrubbing on this. Like I said, this is going to be the panel that's going to really tell us how good we're actually doing with it, because that's by far the worst one. And we did pull the armrests off this so that we could clean around them like we did here in the back also, because the armrests go here. Yeah, and the inside of the armrests were really terrible too. There you go.
They're wet now.
Yeah, Jackson's
bad, but
yeah, as you can see the inside of them, of course. There you go. There's some of the schmoo that's coming off of them. So yeah, it'll be nice just to have this thing kind of cleaned up sitting here, because it just kind of stunk, to be honest. It was kind of stinking up the whole shop. So yeah, this is a big job. I really didn't expect to get this far today as we have been getting. So that will be, that's really good. So we're a little ahead of schedule on that. So that's great. You're a YouTube star now.
Huh?
You're a YouTube star now.
Don't put me on that.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, and this trick, this is really cool. Man, Jackson didn't really pay attention to it until now, or until earlier when Jackson was asking me what the second knob was for, and then I realized that the vent windows are knob driven. You don't have to push them out. That's really cool.
With the Chevrolets, you just have to.
Yeah, you just jam them out. This one's got a nice little.
Not this high class Ford.
Look at that.
It's got a.
That's a pretty trick. I like it. I also love how the back windows come up as well. If you roll these up, they come backwards, up, and then forwards. And when they go down, backwards, down, and then back forwards. Pretty cool. Do the knob. Alright, so here's a before of kind of what the front seat looks like, because that's the only piece of the interior that we haven't done yet. And you can do a direct comparison right here to how much better this really looks. Do another, kind of get both of them together here. As you can see, it is drastic between the front and the back seat on kind of what these look like. This is before we've done anything to it. So this is the only piece we got left. We're going to do this next, and I'll have the whole interior cleaned up here and kind of have us wrapped up for the day for sure. Alright, got the back seat put back in, and it's amazing the difference. I mean, absolutely amazing. This thing is gleaming, shining red right now. Door cards good and red on both sides. This is amazing. I wanted to show you guys this side. I told you this was going to be kind of the test, and it was. You can see where the armrest was, where the stains from where arm has rested here and here so much. It's still there a little bit, but I don't mind it. I think that's okay. It kind of goes with it. Shows this thing was a driver. But we got that polished up, VRP on both the door panels, And the only thing we've got left is over here. Jackson is working on the front seat. Since that was the only thing in the interior that was left as far as vinyl type material, we wanted to go ahead and get this thing knocked out today and got it soaking. He's about to break out the steamer here and start scrubbing. So we've got about 6 hours with me and Jackson both working on this interior. This is the first coat of that VRP on this. Probably throw another coat on it tomorrow because it is already, like right here, you can kind of see it's starting to dull out because it's already sucking it in. You're supposed to put this stuff on until basically it leaves a little bit and you can wipe off the excess. So that does that. This interior looks amazing. I cannot get over it, like how nice it looks. Back seat's shiny, clean. When I get another coat on this thing tomorrow, I'll probably throw it in the car but not bolt it in. Scoot it as far back as I can so that I can still get to the brakes and everything, but at least be there and out of the way so we can start working on the rear end or the rear brakes or whatever we need to start working on next. This was a huge job. It already smells better in here just from cleaning the interior. It's pretty amazing. So that's like I said, it's a big job, big something we needed to do, and it very much worth it. So I wanted to quickly show you guys what a second coat of this looks like on this seat. It's cleaned up so well and so nice. I think that's going to pretty much do us for this week on Shift Points. Getting this interior clean was a huge job, and it took a little less time than I actually expected, and ended up taking quite a bit of time on the video. So thank you guys for joining, thank you guys for watching, and really thank you for hitting that subscribe button. We've had so many do it over the past few months, and it's been really great to have you guys on here and watching and following along. So if you don't care if you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure you do it when it pops up in the center of the screen, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram, where we're putting up stuff basically every day. So thank you guys, we'll see you later.